long-lasting summer fragrances. So, disclaimer, the amount of time that your fragrance will last will depend on several factors, not just the fragrance itself. It depends on the concentration, how you put it on, and the weather even, and sometimes even your own body chemistry. So, these fragrances may last longer or not as long on you, depending on what's going on. Besides that, I have a pretty good list of fragrances that in general last a long time in the summer. So I'm going to start with two from the same brand, which are Gentle Fluidity and Aqua Media. What's this? Colonia Forte. So these are both from Maison Kurkdjian, which is the same brand that produced Baccarat Rouge 540, a very famous fragrance. So these two are really, really good for the summer because they are very fresh, very crisp and light and just clean. Unisex, both of these. So Gentle Fluidity is unique because it has a little bit of nutmeg, but more than anything, you're gonna get this mix of musk, a little bit of wood, and juniper berries. So juniper berries on their own are super fresh, kind of like a pine tree, you know, that kind of slightly woodsy but yet very fresh and cool note. Then of course you mix that with the nutmeg, which is spicy and warm, and then you get this very nice, smooth, cold, clean mix, which is Gentle Fluidity. Very, very nice for the summer because, you know, if you want to freshen up, you can wear this. And it's surprisingly long-lasting. A lot of, light summer fragrances don't last that long, but I would say this is, beyond the average. Probably 6 hours, maybe 7 if you're lucky. Keep in mind that most light fragrances don't last all day, just that's how they are. They're not super long-lasting, but this is definitely above average. So this is a good option. You don't have to reapply it so often. And Aqua Media. So this one is more of a green, aquatic sort of fragrance with a little bit of bergamot, verbena, fennel, and even a little bit of matcha green tea. So what you're getting here is definitely more green notes, a little more kind of dewy, natural, foresty, watery sort of fragrance. So very cool, very clean fragrance here. Again, this is pretty unisex, and the fact that it's Colonia Forte, forte meaning strong, it's more potent than your typical fragrance in this category, and it's just very pleasant. Again, you don't have to reapply it so often throughout the day as you would with your average light summer fragrance. Also, the fact that it's coming from this particular French brand, this brand is very, very high quality, extremely luxurious, like top shelf stuff. That alone makes this a more potent, more reliable fragrance. It's not cheap, it's not gonna go away as soon as you spray it on. So this is a good option as well. Then, this is Labo Bergamot 22. So this is, you can guess, a bergamot fragrance. Probably one of the best bergamot fragrances. It's just, it's like you have a fresh bergamot in front of you. You just tore it open with your bare hands. That really fresh, juicy citrus. I would say very close to a real bergamot scent. Sometimes bergamot is too artificial in some fragrances, but this does it really well. It's not overpowering, but it's not too weak. It has a really nice balance. This is pretty much made for summer. It's just feminine, not too sweet. It persists, it's designed perfectly for the summer. Great for freshening up when it's really hot, which it pretty much is very hot all over the world right now. Then, besides that, it's just a very nice, agreeable, pleasant fragrance. If you want to make sure you don't offend anybody around you, you don't know if people around you like a certain fragrance, I think most people will enjoy this. Then, if you want to go extra top shelf here, you could also go for Xerjoff, 40 knots. There you go. So this is kind of more of a masculine scent. However, I would say. This is pretty much a very nice unisex scent because its notes are basically just aquatic. You got the sea salt, you got the aquatic notes, a little bit of citrus, very unisex in general. And it's surprisingly strong. Usually those notes don't last too long, but somehow they made this last quite a while. Again, this is a very, very high quality brand. I mean, they put a lot of work into their fragrances, so anything they produce is going to be good stuff. And this is no different. This is, 40 knots. It's inspired by yachts, yacht club sort of thing. So this is very refreshing. You can picture the ocean, the beach, being out on a boat somewhere. This is pricey, but you do get what you pay for. Very long-lasting summer fragrance, and just very clean. You feel clean and collected when you wear this. This also probably lasts, similar to the other ones, 6 hours, maybe 7, which is, again, above average for these lighter fragrances. The last one I have is a very feminine option. This is Fleur de Peau by Diptyque. So let me get the sample out here. This is a very pleasant fragrance. This is probably the lightest on the list. It has a big vial though. So this is very pleasant because it's subtle, it's smooth, it has that femininity without being overly chewing your face. Very natural sort of fragrance. Interestingly, there's actually a note of carrot in here, which I've never seen before in any other fragrance. But, obviously there's other things besides the carrot, but that kind of sets the tone for what fragrance this is. Green, kind of like you're out in a field somewhere, out in the sun. There's a little bit of sweetness, but it's very natural, like you're smelling a flower or something. It just really melts into the skin and adds just a little bit of very pleasant sweetness to just your natural smell. So, Fleur de Peau means skin flower, so it is very, subtle, moderate. And yet, despite that, because it is a very intimate fragrance, you have to be pretty close to someone to smell this. Despite that, the fragrance itself lasts quite a while on the skin. I would say 7 hours. Of course, it gets increasingly fainter over time, but despite that, it's still pretty recognizable even after 7 hours. So this is a good option if you want something really modest, really subtle, but still effective. Those are pretty much my main options for long-lasting summer fragrances. So, of course, they're not going to last all day, similar to maybe a very heavy, smoky, musky sort of fragrance, but for this type of fragrance, they last quite a while. And that's really what you want when you're trying to keep cool and fresh during the summer heat. So, that's pretty much what I have to say about that. If you liked the video, leave a like, maybe subscribe, and I make videos throughout the week, so stick around for those.